8 cable theft suspects have been arrested in the recent days. That's for cable theft in the Johannesburg CBD alone. Authorities claim they were found with R1 million worth of stolen cable. A scrap metal shop owner was among 2 suspects arrested in Maitland, that's in the Western Cape, last week for the same reason. Well, the issue of cable theft has been a serious problem that's caused disruptions to rail services in this country. Let's speak to the Passenger Rail Association of South Africa's spokesperson now, Andiswa Makanda, about the progress that's been made. Andiswa, very good morning to you. Welcome to Newsfeed. So, some progress, but still a long way to go as far as eliminating cable theft all the way.
Good morning, Tim McGill, and good morning to your viewers. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in as far as cable theft is concerned. I think we have an issue of, even though we deployed security and put some efforts in place to combat the stealing of our electrical equipment, the criminals are always 10 steps ahead of us. So there's a lot of work that needs to go in as far as cable theft is concerned. You know, Timbekile, you repair, you fix, you restore at one moment, they are back again, they steal the equipment again. So there's a lot of work and thinking that needs to happen around that area.
And there had been talk about how this is costing Prasas upward of R1 billion. There was talk about making sure that some of the railway passages in this country are better guarded, better secured. How much progress has been made to that score, on that score?
First of all, I'd like to deal with something that you've raised, the cost of cable theft and vandalism. You'd notice that every week we're reporting a cable theft or an incident. That is costing us billions of rands to the tune of even more than 4 billion. It's still counting. But the other issue is, Timbekile, is that the cost of recovering and restoring and replacing the equipment is much more higher than the cost of the theft itself. So you're also looking at, just to replace and recover and restore the stolen cables, the stolen tracks, you're looking at between 5 and 6 billion rands. And the deployment of security is not enough. We don't have enough footwork to cover all the railway track. We're talking about thousands of kilometers of track that needs to be protected. We can't keep up, which is why we're relying also on other law enforcement agencies and communities to also alert us when they notice some nefarious activity on our railway tracks. We are deploying security, but it's not enough. I know that our security department is also working on more deployments, but I mean, we run trains, we don't run security services, but we find ourselves in the business of security because constantly we need to factor in what's the security plan. Part of it, Tibegela, is that because these activities are run by organized criminals, syndicates, we also need an intelligence-driven approach in fighting the theft of cables and electrical equipment. It's not just about deploying security, but we also need intelligence-driven operations where we can gather all the intelligence, because these people are highly organized, they know what they're doing, they are very armed, they're dangerous, they don't think twice. I can think of even some of our own officials who have been attacked by the criminals. They use guns, they kill people.
So just on that point then, Andiswa, the point about how these are syndicates, you've got syndicates operating in the cable space, because let's be clear, some estimates have said it's a multi-million rand industry, right? If you're going to need more intelligence-driven operations, is enough of that coming forth from the government side?
I can say that, I can speak for Prasas. We've had to restructure our approach to security. We've had to find skills in the security and intelligence gathering. As a result, because of the measures we put in place, the restructure we put in terms of our security approach, we find that when we recovered Mabopane line in January, for instance, there haven't been any incidences of theft and vandalism, touch wood. And so it looks like our security plans are bearing fruit right now. Some of the lines where we've deployed and implemented the security plan and intelligence gathering, we are seeing less and less theft and vandalism. Mm-hmm. It's just that now it's a matter of rolling it out nationally, but also having support from law enforcement agencies. I know that SAPS has also come on board in terms of assisting us and responding on time when there's an incident on our railway network.
More concerning has been the involvement or alleged involvement of some workers at Prasas in informing the criminals about which areas to target in order to steal the cabling, how to, for example, take down some of those wires, because it's also quite a dangerous operation. How much attention are you paying to inside jobs at Prasas?
That's a good point you raised there. In terms of our security and the intelligence gathering systems that we've put in place, we've been able to identify some of the workers that are working in cahoots with the criminals. And I must say that we were able to make some arrests. I think it was last year, if not 2020, where employees within Prasas were arrested. We are identifying them. There's a lot of work that's being done and attention given to that area. Our security is not lying down. Our acting head of security is working on identifying more of these people. It's given huge attention right now.
And given then the lucrative nature of this cable theft industry, I mean, we were just referencing how a scrapyard operator or owners among the people arrested in these recent cases that we're reporting on, certainly. Is Prasas prepared for a possible fight back? Because if these are sophisticated and dangerous syndicates, they're not going to give up what is a lucrative trade for them, illegal or not, easily.
Exactly, Tabigile. I mean, if you look at the price of copper over the past 10 years, it has increased exponentially. It's a very lucrative business, and we have a situation where we have the scrap metal industry where we are pushing for employment and growth and stuff. But then there's the catch-22 situation of how do we regulate the scrap metal industry? Because as much as some of these companies have licenses to operate, some of them don't have licenses to operate. And so if you look at even the value chain system of how this works, I mean, nobody checks that this copper that you're selling me at the scrap metal market, where did you get it? Do you own it? Do you have papers for those cables that you're selling, for the scrap that you're selling? And so I remember even early this year, the Minister of Transport with Prasas management and the board went on a raid. We visited some scrap metal yards in the inner Joburg city and some business markets in Soweto as well, where we looked at the value chain, how it moves from the railway lines back into the scrap metal yards ready for shipping to other countries. And we saw how these things work. Some of the businesses wouldn't give us certificates of operation. They couldn't tell us where they bought the cables that they had. So there's a whole conversation that needs to be had around the scrap metal industry. How do we ensure that it's a thriving industry where there'll be job opportunities, but at the same time, how do we regulate it in such a way that there's a disincentive for people to steal our infrastructure?
Andiswa Makanda, spokesperson for the South African Passenger Rail Agency. Good to have your time. Thank you.